At 18, you enter a law enforcement academy with a clear belief that the world is always divided between right and wrong, light and darkness. And your mission is to stand on the side of justice and protect the innocent. Everything still feels simple and clearly defined in the mind of someone who has just left school. You believe that with enough discipline, effort, and integrity, every crime can be controlled and every evil can be stopped. But you have never experienced the real world behind reports and lectures. A world where nothing is as clear as you think. Where the line between right and wrong can be distorted by a single small decision, and you do not yet know that the seemingly correct choice you make today will open a path you can never turn back from. At 21, you graduate and are selected for a DEA special unit. A unit where not everyone is even allowed to be named. Because your mission is not to arrest criminals in the usual way. It is to disappear into their world, to live like them, to observe from within. From the very beginning, you are told that your entire former identity must be erased. No family, no past, no attachments, only a new identity created to survive in the darkness. And you understand that from this moment on, the boundary between you and your role will gradually dissolve over time. You are given a false identity and sent into a city where drugs are not just crime, but an underground system controlling everything. And your first mission is not to fight. It is to learn how to survive without being detected. At 22, you officially live under your new identity. A person with no clear history, no traceable past. Your only mission is to infiltrate the criminal environment identified by the DEA, a world where every interaction is measured in suspicion and every action can cost a life. You learn to observe instead of react, to listen instead of argue, because a single mistake can collapse your entire cover. In the process, you begin to approach the first links in the drug network, people who seem ordinary on the surface, but actually operate an entire hidden system beneath it. And you realize that to survive here, you need more than the skills of an agent. You must learn to become part of the very world you are trying to destroy, and that slowly begins to blur the boundaries inside your own mind. At 23, you begin to directly engage with key figures in the network, no longer just observing from a distance, but participating in covert meetings and transactions hidden beneath layers of legitimate business. You gradually understand that this organization does not operate through chaos as you once believed. It is a cold, disciplined, highly intelligent system, a structure where every person is a replaceable gear in a machine. And even a small deviation can bring down the entire network. But at the same time, you begin to realize the real danger does not only come from them. It also comes from the constant lying you must maintain to survive. Every word, every glance, every reaction must be calculated. And in rare moments alone, you start to wonder whether you are still investigating or whether you have already been swallowed by this world without noticing. At 24, your mission reaches a critical stage. You begin to collect the first pieces of information valuable enough to send back to headquarters. Names, transport routes, hidden connections that were never clearly documented before. You feel the pressure increasing as every piece of data you transmit could trigger a large-scale raid, meaning that anyone around you could disappear at any moment. While you must continue acting as if you know nothing, still attending meetings, still smiling, still talking like part of the system. And this double life begins to exhaust you in ways no one can see, because the boundary between your mission and your true self is fading more and more, and sometimes you are no longer sure whether you are controlling the situation or being carried along by it day by day. At 25, you begin to face real trials when part of the information you provided is leaked back, triggering an internal investigation where every trace could lead back to you. From that moment on, you no longer feel safe for even a second. Every glance could be suspicious. Every question could be a threat. You are forced to maintain absolute control over yourself. No mistakes, no delays, no abnormal reaction. Meanwhile, pressure from the DEA continues to rise, and the demand for clearer evidence becomes more intense, pushing you into a constant state of tension. For the first time, you realize this mission is not only dangerous because of the criminals, it is dangerous because the very system you serve could turn its back on you at any moment, leaving you trapped between two worlds with no clear escape. At 26, everything begins to blur as you are no longer sure who is truly on your side. After the leak incident, you are placed under stricter covert surveillance. Every report is double-checked. Every interaction becomes colder. You clearly feel that trust within the system has been fractured. And you begin to change as well. You speak less. You observe more. You share nothing beyond what is necessary, while still maintaining your role inside the criminal organization you are infiltrating. This isolation gradually conditions you to live in a constant state of alertness, where no one is truly a friend, and every relationship may simply be part of the mission. And you realize the greatest danger is no longer the criminals you are investigating. It is the fact that you no longer know who you can trust, even yourself. At 27, you are no longer just an undercover agent. You have become an inseparable part of the underworld you once observed from a distance. Meetings, transactions, and dangerous decisions now take place within the very circle you inhabit. And you begin to notice a change within yourself. Your reflexes become more natural in the criminal environment, but slower when you return to your original role. This imbalance gradually erodes your sense of identity. Everything you do is justified by the mission. But inside, your emotions can no longer distinguish right from wrong. In rare moments of silence, you realize you no longer see the world as you once did. Instead, you see it through the lens of those you were assigned to destroy. At 28, you begin to face the true cost of living too long in the underworld. Relationships you have built no longer have a clear boundary between real and fake. Some people in the network begin to trust you as one of their own. They share information beyond your original mission scope, pulling you deeper into layers of the structure the DEA has never fully mapped. At the same time, this places you in greater danger than ever before, because a single suspicion could collapse everything. You are forced to continue balancing on a thin line between two worlds, while your mind grows heavier with decisions that are no longer about right or wrong, but about who will be sacrificed. And this begins to keep you awake at night, to silence you more often. And you slowly understand that some missions do not just change your life, they change the person you become. At 29, everything approaches its breaking point when a major operation is planned. You become the most critical link in the entire intelligence network. But at the same time, you discover a detail that changes everything. A clue suggesting that not only the criminals are watching you, but even people within your own system may be hiding something. The feeling of being trapped between two layers of betrayal leaves you unsure who the real target is anymore. Pressure from both sides tightens, forcing you to make faster but more dangerous decisions. You begin acting so cautiously that you no longer trust any data you receive, because one wrong move could erase your identity entirely. And in that moment, you realize this is no longer a mission, it is survival. At 30, you enter a phase where every remaining belief is tested one final time. A leak of classified information occurs precisely during a critical operation. Both sides begin to suspect each other, and you are placed at the center of a crossfire of investigations. Every word, every action is analyzed in microscopic detail. You realize you no longer have the right to make even a single mistake. The psychological pressure forces you into a constant state of alertness. There is no longer a boundary between day and night, between work and self. In rare moments alone, you begin to wonder whether anything you have done has truly made a difference, or whether it has only pushed you further away from the person you once were. But there is no way back, because every trace has already been embedded into both worlds you once tried to balance. At 31, you begin to realize you no longer react like a pure agent. In dangerous situations, your decisions become a fraction slower, not due to lack of skill, but because two opposing streams of thought constantly exist in your mind. One is the mission. The other is the invisible bond you have formed with the underworld. This internal conflict makes it increasingly difficult to maintain your former absolute coldness. People around you begin to sense the change, but cannot name it. And neither can you explain it. Everything you once built relied on suppressing emotion, but now emotion is exactly what is breaking your internal stability. And you understand that if this continues, one day you will no longer be able to distinguish between the mission's decisions and your own humanity. At 32, you face the most dangerous situation yet. Your undercover identity shows signs of exposure within the system. Small traces begin connecting into a larger picture that forces both sides to question you. You are summoned repeatedly for explanations while still maintaining your role inside the criminal world. The pressure overlaps until there is no space left to breathe. You realize even a slightly wrong answer could collapse everything. But more terrifying is the fact that you are no longer sure which side you should answer to. Both have become unfamiliar. In rare moments of silence, you understand you are no longer standing between two worlds. You are being pulled apart by both, and you no longer have clear control over your direction. At 33, you enter a state where no anchor remains. Neither the DEA nor the underground organization fully trusts you anymore. Every step you take is monitored from multiple sides. There is no room left for mistakes or even hesitation. The intelligence you gather becomes increasingly sensitive, directly involving high-level figures in both systems. This turns you into both a crucial and dangerous link. You are constantly forced into split-second decisions, but none of the choices are truly safe anymore. You begin living in prolonged tension, no longer able to distinguish work from existence itself. Everything tightens around you day by day, and you understand that if you go any deeper, there will be no path back to who you once were. At 34, all the layers you have built over the years begin to peel away. A large-scale crackdown operation is launched. Old data is unexpectedly recovered. It reveals a chain of connections between you and past incidents, forcing both sides to finally acknowledge what they can no longer ignore. You are pulled into increasingly intense cross-examinations, where every detail is placed under suspicion. Inside the underworld, trust in you also begins to fracture. You realize you are standing at a point where even the slightest push could bring everything down. But what frightens you most is not exposure. It is the fact that you are no longer sure which side you would choose if it happens, because the line between duty and self has nearly disappeared completely. At 35, you can no longer maintain the fragile balance you once held. A sudden raid takes place. Both sides act simultaneously, as if they have been waiting for this moment. Everything you carefully built in silence is torn apart in a single night. You are forced to flee with no clear identity. No place is safe anymore. People who once trusted you either disappear or turn away. You realize every previous choice has led you exactly here, a point of unavoidable collapse, where you are no longer an officer, no longer an infiltrator, only a person consumed by the game itself. And in that moment you understand, truth does not save you, it only removes any path back. After the collapse, you leave with no clear plan. Only survival instinct guides you through cold, unfamiliar streets. All systems that once surrounded you have either collapsed or turned against you. You have no legal identity left to hold on to. Every step is about erasing traces of the past. While memories of your undercover years weigh heavily, like something that cannot be cut away, you understand you no longer belong to any world. Both sides now see you as a threat to eliminate. Silence is no longer safety. It is a sign you are being hunted. But you keep moving, because stopping means the end. For the first time, you are not trying to win, only to survive one more day. At 36, you live entirely in the dark. No fixed name, no documents, no connection to your past life. Every trace of who you were has been erased or cut away by your own hands. You move constantly between unfamiliar cities, where no one knows you and no one needs to. Yet you always feel watched, even when no one is visible. Memories of missions, prisons, and impossible decisions return every night like an endless loop. You understand survival does not mean freedom. It means absolute isolation. You exist, but belong to no one. And there is no way back to the person you once were. At 37, you hear about a leaked file containing the full operational history of a prison officer who went undercover inside a gang. Even small details are enough to trace your entire path back. You are forced to return to where it all began, to erase the last remaining trace. But when you arrive, nothing remains intact. Everyone involved has disappeared or been erased from the system. The place is now only a shadow of the past. You understand the most dangerous force is no longer the gang or the agency. It is the truth itself spreading uncontrollably, beyond anyone's control. For the first time in years, you do not run. You stand still and face everything, because you know this may be your real ending. At 38, you are pushed to the final point. Both sides close in simultaneously. There is no escape left, no negotiation, no disappearance. You are forced into a confrontation you have avoided your entire life. Every piece of evidence about who you were is laid out layer by layer, clear, undeniable. You understand that whether you run or stay, the outcome will not change. So you decide not to flee anymore. You step into the light one last time, not to beg, not to justify, but to end everything on your own terms. You walk in carrying the full weight of the truth, and the moment the door closes behind you, all external sound disappears. Only absolute silence remains, the silence of an ending that was written long before you ever realized it.